What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This here's Legitical Response. And folks, look, I had this interaction. I got to get this off my chest. I want to poll the audience, you guys that are watching the video. I want y'all to let me know down in the comments section right quick if these people are just delusional or what's really going on, because I was utterly confused by this guy's comment. Of course, I responded, and we're going to go over that right quick just for transparency purposes. But, you know, the guy, once again, most of these people, they never respond to the comments that they leave. But let's go ahead and see what this guy has to say. Left a comment on one of my videos. David Thomas says, Biden has done an excellent job. He has handled global inflation better than any other comparable country. Spent years fixing Trump's border mess. Got America out of the longest war in American history, repaired relationships with American allies, and all the MAGA morons can say is, what about the price of eggs? Like, seriously, what the hell is wrong with some of these people? Like, I responded, and I'm going to read that response right quick, but it's like, come on, dude, seriously? Like, they're either not paying attention or they're lying intentionally. Look, this is what I responded because it kind of ticked me off a little bit. Delusional. The American Rescue Plan helped induce inflation along with massive deficit spending. We've had record numbers of criminal aliens cross the border, causing a self-inflicted crisis because of tens of thousands of actual criminals, such as but not limited to murderers, rapists, and just general scumbags. The withdrawal from Afghanistan was the most disastrous withdrawal of troops in military history, not to mention the scandals like Abbey-gate and the dignified transfer where the President of the United States continually checked his watch. Not to mention the industrial-scale censorship of American citizens on social media, the continuous refusal of oversight, vax mandates that resulted in many federal employees getting fired, Biden's green agenda that will force coal-fired power plants to shut down by 2032 if they don't install technology that isn't fully developed yet, forgiving student loans in defiance of Supreme Court orders twice, funding foreign wars, etc., etc., etc. History will show the Biden administration is the worst administration in U.S. history by far. You have either been lied to over and over and over, or you are intentionally lying for malicious purposes. Choose one. Thanks for watching. Yes. Like, it ticked me off because, like, really, like, if we start going through everything Joe Biden has done, and I didn't even mention a lot of stuff. That's what the et cetera, right? Like, there's a whole lot of stuff, which is the news article we're going to cover today, is other things. It's not necessarily Joe Biden, but it's Democrats in general. Like, they have one of the greatest manipulation campaigns in human history, because they've got, I don't know how many voters, like, really believing that Joe Biden is a good president, that he's not the worst president in United States history. As a matter of fact, people like Harry Sisson will get out there and say he's the best president in United States history. Like, are you freaking kidding me? This guy, he's not even there anymore, right? Like, look at his disastrous debate performance. You had people like Brian Tyler Cohen and Harry Sisson just saying that Joe Biden won that debate against Donald Trump. It's like, did we watch the same debate here? Did you not see Joe Biden fumble with every single response? It's like something is either wrong with these people, they've been manipulated into oblivion, or they're just lying maliciously on purpose. It doesn't make any sense to me. But let's get into the story right quick, because this is a pretty good one. And it's, once again, like I said, it's something else that Democrats do that just blows my mind, and it makes absolutely no sense. Check this out, y'all. Another candidate loses bid to get on Pennsylvania's presidential ballot. Yeah, we're talking about Cornel West here. Yes, like the lawfare from these people is crazy. And yes, this is a corporate press article. As you can see, it's by the AP. So once again, they got to manipulate you into trying to make you think that this isn't such a bad thing. That, oh, well, hang on, we got to follow the rules. We got to follow the laws. When these people specifically, they make up rules and laws to benefit the Democrat and Republican parties. Right? But we have a duopoly in politics right now. Like, if you're an independent candidate or, Green Party, or you make up your own political party, it's nigh on impossible to get on the presidential ballot, right? Like the other ballots, congressmen, stuff like that, it's a bit easier because you're not having to deal with all 50 states. If you're just generally in one state or one district of that state, it's much easier because they can't make it too hard. Otherwise, it would be freaking obvious to everybody that you don't want independent candidates. You want them to align with your party, one or the other. And I think we need to do away with this, right? All the requirements to get on a presidential ballot should be equal all the way across the board, but it's not. That's insane. Republicans and Democrats need much less signatures. There's several things. We're not going to get into all that, but it's crazy what they do. It's just outright crazy. All right, here we go, y'all. A federal judge has turned down Cornel West's request to be included on the presidential ballot in the key battleground state of Pennsylvania, expressing a sympathy for his claim, but saying it's too close to Election Day to make changes. That's bogus, if you ask me, right? Like, because they changed the rules to make early voting a thing, mail-in voting and absentee ballots and all this. Oh, well, now it's too close to election. It's too close to the election, right? We no longer have just Election Day. It's election month. And I love saying it like that, by the way. But it's crazy to me. Once again, in benefit of the Democrat and Republican parties. U.S. District Judge Nicholas Ranjan said in an order issued late Thursday that he has serious concerns about how Pennsylvania Secretary of State Al Schmidt is applying restrictions in the state election code to West. The laws as applied to him and based on the record before the court appear to be designed to restrict ballot access to him and other non-major political candidates for reasons that are not entirely weighty or tailored and thus appear to run afoul of the U.S. Constitution, Ranjan wrote. Yes, I talk about this all the time. Like, going through, I didn't know this either. As a matter of fact, before I started reading the news, before I started reading these articles, as a matter of fact, before a few months ago, I discovered it. Like, doing this right now, I was reading out one of these news articles that I decided, I saw it and I'm like, oh, I'm not going to read this whole thing. And I was in here reading this out, and they went over like a lot of the restrictions in this article. It was great. I was like, holy crap, my mind's blown. Like, really? Signatures? And there was just a bunch of stuff that I can't really remember right off the top of my head right now, but it was like, holy crap, really? We have a duopoly, folks, and this is not good. This is not good for democracy. But, the thing that really gets me is the Democrat Party, in conjunction with Act Blue and a lot of these other super PACs and PACs, they take your donated dollars. Like, if you're a Democrat, you donate to Act Blue. A lot of that money goes to lawfare, folks, to keep people off the ballot. You would figure the Democratic Party, the party of democracy, right? Because they're constantly talking about, oh, Trump's a threat to democracy. We've got to get out there and save our democracy, right? You would figure they would want more democracy, right? Like, more is better, huh? More democracy is a good thing. But no, they sue to keep people off the ballot because they don't want challengers, because they know that their candidate is absolute garbage and isn't going to win, by the way. From looking at everything, that's going to be my next video. You guys should go check that out. And by the way, right quick, like, you guys, if you guys could do me a big, huge favor, smash that like button for me and subscribe to this channel if you're not subscribed. It really, really, really helps. You know, we are being shadow banned. We are being trying to put in a corner for getting out and speaking the truth, for reading the news, for getting you guys the facts that they don't want you informed. So people like me, we get pushed off to the side, right? We get put in a box, and they don't expose my channel nearly as much as if I was talking about anime, or if I was talking about railroads or something, or anything else but politics. They try to keep me in a box. They don't promote my videos. So if you guys could really do me a favor, it really would help out a lot if y'all just smash that like button, subscribe if you not, and share this video. Comment down below. Engagement is major when it comes to YouTube and the algorithm. Like, just leave any sort of comment. Speak your mind. If you got something, like if you want to critique the way I speak, you know, should I slow down? Should I speed up? Blah, 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 blah. Am I too close to the camera? Am I too far away? Anything that's on your mind, let me know down in the comment section. I will respond to you. I can guarantee you that. Right? I stay in the comment section. But y'all, do me that favor. I would appreciate it. Smash that like button, subscribe, and share this video with anybody and everybody. Let's keep going. West, a liberal academic currently serving as professor of philosophy and Christian practice at Union Theological Seminary in New York, would likely draw far more votes away from Democratic nominee Vice President Kamala Harris than from the Republican candidate, former President Donald Trump. West's lawyers in the case have deep Republican ties. Imagine that. You love how they do that. Now, what they're trying to do here is they're trying to say that, oh, we got Republicans over here trying to help Cornel West because he's going to take votes away from Kamala Harris, right? So they're trying to set this thing up to say that, oh, well, this is, you know, election fair or something, election lawfare, and which is exactly what this is. But, you know, it's Democrats that started this lawsuit. Republicans are people with Republican ties, lawyers with deep Republican ties would not be involved. And that's where the manipulation comes in, folks. They're trying to make you think that all Republicans are just helping Cornel West because it's going to take votes away from Kamala Harris. But Democrats suing Cornel West is the whole reason that these lawyers are involved in the first place. Because if they wouldn't have sued to try to keep him off the ballot in the first place, they wouldn't have gotten involved. Right? This is just insanity coming from the Democratic Party. And I imagine this has been going on for years, and we just don't know about it because nobody really talks about this kind of stuff. Right? Like stuff that goes on in the background, because it's not a striking headline. Nobody pays attention to this kind of crap. But this is the kind of information that you need to know about your own party. And right, like if you're a Democrat and you're thinking, oh, I'm just biased or something, trust me, I railed just as hard against the Republican Party. I'm not a Republican, by the way, in case you didn't know. I'm registered as an independent. I am backing Donald Trump. I will say that because I am not down with the insanity of Harris. And I'm not voting for one of these third-party candidates because that's just a protest vote, if you will. Like, you know, I don't understand those because the duopoly, folks, it's crazy. Right? Like, if you don't vote for Harris or Trump, you're throwing away your vote, essentially. But, you know, a lot of people, they can't bring themselves to vote for these people as protest votes. I get it. I totally get it. You're deranged with Trump. I understand. You don't like the guy. Whatever. I can look past some of the character flaws of the guy and see that the policy is what matters. And the policy is far better than anything Democrats can produce, right? At least currently with Kamala Harris, because that's just insanity, if you ask me. You want this country to go down a path of destruction. Vote for Kamala Harris. But, you know, I'm not trying to tell you who to vote for, by the way. That's not my job. I'm just here to give you the facts, and that's my opinion. That's not the part of the news article. So let's just get that out of the way, right? We all know my biases. If this case had been brought earlier, the results, at least on the present record, may have been different, Ranjan wrote in turning down the request for a temporary restraining order and preliminary injunction. An appeal will be filed immediately, West lawyer Matt Haverstick said Friday. This is a situation where I think, given the constitutional rights, that any ballot access is better than no ballot access, Haverstick said. We'd be content if Dr. West got on some ballots, or even if there was a notification posted at polling places that he was on the ballot. You know, when you have places that have paper ballots, you can write in that candidate. I do believe. I know that's how it is in Louisiana. I don't know how it is other places, but I imagine that many states have that. I don't know the laws in Pennsylvania specifically on that, so I can't say. But, you know, if it's available, I would suggest people that want to vote for Cornel West to write his name in, for crying out loud. Like, I heard a proposal by Tim Pool the other day saying that ballots should be blank. That when people go to vote, they should know exactly who they're voting for, and you have to write in their name, right? Like, that's a great idea, because you got a lot of these people, a lot of Democrats especially, and just vote blue no matter who, and they can go in there to the polling place or whatever and just vote for all the Democrats and have no idea what they're voting for. They don't know that they're voting for a bunch of insanity, all right? Like, that's how we get to where we're at now. That's what Democrats did in 2020. They went house to house to house, to Democrat residences, by the way, and got Democrats to vote by mail, right? Like, people that would otherwise probably not vote, they got these people to vote by mail. That's why we saw, like, I think it was like a 30-something% jump in voter turnout, in votes cast. Yes. 30-something%. And when you're talking, like, in 2016, I think Trump had 63 million and Hillary Clinton had 65-something million, right? We're talking 120, almost 130 million, right? Well, Biden got 81 million freaking votes, and Donald Trump had 76 million votes. That's a lot, folks. I'm not going to do that math right now, but I'm wanting to say that's like 30-something million more votes. That's a lot, y'all. That's a whole hell of a lot. That is insanity, if you ask me. And that's how Democrats did it. I think, personally, because at the time, Republicans, you know, Donald Trump was telling people, don't vote by mail. Because we want everybody on election day, you know, paper ballots, blah, 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 you get it. But Democrats, they changed the rules, changed the laws, especially around the mail-in ballots, ballot harvesting, and all this garbage to give themselves the upper hand, in other words, and it worked. So now Republicans are doing the exact same thing. And hey, I'm right there with you. Right there with you. Matt Heckel, press secretary for the Pennsylvania Department of State, said in an email that Ranjan reached the right outcome, but that Schmidt respectfully disagrees with the judge's opinion regarding his agency's enforcement of the election code. Heckel noted state courts had previously sided with the Department of State. One of the dangers of such last-minute litigation is that the courts do not have adequate time to review the law in making their decisions, Heckel wrote. Ranjan cited federal precedent that courts should not disrupt imminent elections without a powerful reason for doing so. He said it was too late to reprint ballots and retest election machines without increasing the risk of error. I get that. I totally get that. Putting West on the ballot at this point, the judge ruled, would unquestionably cause voter confusion as well as likely post-election litigation about how to count votes cast by a newly printed mail-in ballots. You know what I say to that, though? I get it. I totally get it. But so what? So freaking what? You're complaining about having to do a little bit more work? You're complaining about litigation? Really? I understand the printing of ballot thing, right? Like, I totally get that. They would have to reprint a bunch of ballots, all the ballots that came in so far, because, yeah, voting's already started, y'all. The ballots that have come in so far they would have to re-vote. essentially, to get it right at least. They may not do that, but I get that, but it's more work. But so what? You know, you're talking about the future of the country. You know, I think these people made the decision based upon the fact that Cornel West has zero chance of winning the election. Right? Like, I get that too. But at the same time, it's our democracy we're talking about here. And when Democrats start yelling and screaming about democracy, I'm going to bring this kind of garbage up because they're the ones making less democracy for everybody. They're the ones tying these people to litigation for no apparent reason, right? Like this, because this is coming in so late, he's being kept off the ballot. But what they're not telling you is that this litigation has been going on for months. That's why I say, screw that. Totally. I understand their concerns. I understand how the court works. You can't get to all this right away. However, what they should do, and this pisses me off, man, is because it has to do with the election and you have ballots that need to be printed, how about you get this in and litigate it quickly so this can all be resolved well before the election? Like, I don't understand these people. They want to get all these candidates tied up in freaking election litigation. It's like you're really suing somebody to keep them off the ballot for dumbass reasons. Really dumbass reasons. It makes no sense. Like, New York was suing RFK, like Democrats in New York sued RFK to keep him off the ballot because he doesn't live at that address in New York for at least 6 months out of the year. Right? He still lives there for a specific amount of time. Right? Like, because his address is wrong. It's not that he has to live there. It's a presidential race. Right? It's not like a Senate race or something like that. I would get it if it was a senatorial race or a congressional race. Look, I understand that. It's a presidential race, though. Right? He could get on the ballot in California and still live in New York. That makes no freaking difference. But because of some of their stupid election rules that the duopoly made up, yeah, that's what happens. It's utter ridiculousness, if you ask me, suing him because he lives somewhere else, and that's what he put as his address on his application to get on the ballot in New York. They're suing for that. Yeah, that's one of the most ridiculous things. Like, and all of these suits are just silly, dumb garbage that the Democrats seem to just make stuff up. Like one, I think Colorado's ballot, because he didn't have enough signatures. Right? He had, I think it was like 100 shy of the 100 and something thousand signatures needed to get on the ballot. You know how many signatures Republicans and Democrats need? I think it's like 20,000. That's insane. When I read that out in that article, my mind was freaking blown. Like, really? They need 5 times the amount of signatures. You know how much work that is to get 100,000 something signatures? Democrats and Republicans too, to be honest, because it's state legislatures that make up these laws, so it's Democrats and Republicans, generally speaking, that make up these rules that make it to where they're the only ones that can play the game. It's ridiculous, folks. Utter ridiculousness. But let's keep going. West, his running mate in the Justice for All party, and 3 voters sued Schmidt and the Department of State in federal court in Pittsburgh on September 25th, arguing the department's interpretation of election law violates their constitutional rights to freedom of association and equal protection. Specifically, they challenged a requirement that West's presidential electors, the people ready to cast votes for West in the Electoral College, should have filed candidate affidavits. Like, it's just small stuff that they're suing for. In court testimony Monday, West said he was aiming for equal protection of voices. In the end, when you lose the integrity of a process, in the end, when you generate distrust in public life, it reinforces spiritual decay. It reinforces moral decadence, West testified. Ranjan was nominated to the courts by Trump in 2019. All 14 U.S. Senate votes against him, including that of Harris, then a senator from California, were cast by Democrats. What they are trying to do, like, you might ask, what was the point of adding in that the judge in this case was a Trump appointee? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Why do they always throw that in there? What they're trying to do, they're trying to, once again, poison the well here to try to make you think, oh, well, hang on, don't look at Democrats. That was a Republican judge that kept him off the ballot. That was the Trump judge. Right? No. Right? We know Trump hires bad people. Like, come on. Just because the guy's a Republican doesn't mean he's not in the uniparty. Right? Like, this is something that really aggravates me to no end, that people talk about all the time. And they seem to overlook the fact, like, these corporate press articles always do this. Anytime that any court document, like any court case that the corporate press covers, I should say, has a Trump-appointed judge, they will make sure and let you know that. Like, so what? Trump himself does not know this person, did not actually physically appoint this person. It was suggested to by somebody in Trump's administration, I'm sure. I don't know exactly how that process works, but I imagine that is how that process works. These people get suggested. There's a list of people, and they go and look at, oh, this is Republicans, blah, 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 blah. Let's put these people on the circuit. However, that process should be a lot more intensified, I guess you could say, with the vetting at least, because these federal judges dictate culture, because they dictate the laws that get passed or don't get passed, right? A lot of these laws that the legislature makes, they get sued on, and they have to go to court over this stuff, and these federal judges litigate this stuff. And when you have these lame-brained, insane leftist judges that just will side with Democrats regardless of the implications of whatever's in front of them, yet we can't have activists sitting on the federal circuit. That's not good for the country. This kind of garbage really, really ticks me off and gets me up in a roar. I'm telling you, man, because our country is being destroyed by these people, and they don't even realize it. And they're activists on the federal circuit. We got activists in the Supreme Court, for crying out loud. Like, it's ridiculous. These people don't care. Like, if you listen to the opinion of Sotomayor in the presidential immunity ruling, that was the ravings, the ranting of a lunatic. That's what that was. She literally wrote, she had a bunch of little statements. She said, blah, 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 immune. He wants to do such and such, immune. And she wrote that out, about 4 different statements like that. And then wrote out, literally had her staffers write out, immune, 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 immune. Like, why put that immune in there so many freaking times? Like, that was just utter insanity coming from these people. It's ridiculous, y'all. Like, we really need to take our country back. When Trump talks about taking the country back, he is right. Like, the Democrats are actively destroying this country by trying to progress society way too far, way too fast. Like, don't get it wrong, folks. I'm not just some hardcore conservative. Like, I understand the essence of what progressivism is, and I understand that our society, we need progressives, right? Like, don't all bitch and moan about me saying that. We need progressives. We need our society to move forward, right? But this is a saying I love to say, right? Progressives show society where to go. Conservatives figure out how we're going to get there, or even if we're going to go there in the first place, right? And I'm a true believer of that. Progressives can show us something. Like, look at the 1965 Civil Rights Act. Right? That was progressives that pushed that. If they wouldn't have pushed that, we might still have segregation. That would be utterly abhorrent. Like, just ridiculous. So we need progressives to show us that, yeah, we're doing something wrong here. Right? Like, I totally get that. Look, and I understand what they're trying to do with the trans movement, but what they're doing with that is they're taking it way too far. What they want to do is they want to normalize trans people, so when you see a trans person, you don't run the other way. I get it. But look, this whole trans rights activist garbage, it's got to stop. It's got to slow down. Look, outright, trans people have the exact same amount of rights as everybody else. Just because you identify in a certain specific way does not mean you get more rights than everybody else. Be happy with what we all have, because we all have equal protection under the law. And, they want to say, oh, no, we don't. We can't do this. We can't do that. Well, you know what? Biology is directly tied into that, and biology dictates your sex. Your gender identity is all up here in your head. Your sex is what we're really looking at, right? You can't be a male identifying as a female and go into a female's restroom. That is not how biology works. There are reasons for protection purposes, privacy purposes. We can't do that. There is a reason, a very good reason, we don't allow men in women's sports. Men are built differently. And even if you start with the hormones and all that garbage, blah, 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 that doesn't matter, because once you go through puberty, it's over. You have that bone mass, the muscle mass, stronger blood flow, more lung capacity. There's several things that make men stronger than women that could potentially get women hurt when it comes to sports. We've seen this. That's why there's so many activists out there fighting against this garbage. This is one of those instances where, we don't need to progress ourselves in that direction. That's ridiculous. And I'm glad that conservatives are pushing back against this stuff. It's utter insanity, if you ask me. And I just noticed how long I've been talking for. And I'm sorry to keep you guys here. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this off. I didn't realize I'd been going for 30 freaking minutes. So y'all let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comments section. It's crazy to me, the lawfare coming from Democrats, y'all. Let me know what you think. Is it okay? Is it not okay? Is it damaging the country? Because that's what I personally believe, that it's damaging our nation, and it's going to be hard to recover from some of this stuff, because a lot of these Democrats, they're just used to suing these people to keep them off the ballot. What? Just mind-blowing to me. But y'all let me know what y'all think. That's all I got for this one. I want to thank everybody for watching, and y'all try to have a good day. Stay legitical. Peace.